Welcome to episode 261 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and I got a couple of great guests this week. Guy Serle's here. Welcome back. How you doing, Guy?
Oh, you said great guests.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me on, Dave.
Oh, love having you on. Glad you're here. Also, I'm glad who is here is Mike Potter from Mac Stock. How you doing, Mike?
I'm glad I are here too, Dave.
Yeah, tongue-tied there. Well, great to have you here this week. And then last but certainly not least, Mr. Jeff Gamet's here. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing great, and I'm glad that Guy and Mike are here too.
Yes, we're gonna have some fun this week. We got a fair amount of news. Found some good stories. Talk a little bit about what's going on in the beta world. There's an anniversary that's actually is happening today as we record this on July 29th or June 29th, excuse me. A couple other great topics for this week, but I do have some breaking news. And Jeff, I think you're going to be happy about this. iPad keyboard maker Brydge has been revived under new ownership.
Oh, wow.
Details are unpaid salaries and unfulfilled orders is still unknown. This was in 9 to 5 Mac. The author, it was Chance Miller, the author. He published a big expose about the big downfall of Brydge. We talked about this a number of weeks ago. But there was a press release that came out today as we record that a company, Ulinta Products, says they're going to plan to relaunch Brydge Technologies, and the press release describes them as a rising entity in the technology industry. It'll be led by...
Well, at this point, there's no place they can go but up, so sure.
Yeah. It's actually going to be led...
I had a Brydge keyboard, and it was great while it lasted, and then it just fell apart one day, and I never used another one after that.
Yeah. It was like a metaphor for the company.
Yeah. Yeah.
It will be led by Leon Rossi, who was as CEO. He did serve as Brydge's CFO in October of 2022 until the company ran out of money in March of 2023.
Wait, hold on. The person who was in charge of the money that's
going to now be the CEO.
Is now going to be the CEO. I can't see a downside to any of this.
Yes.
Right? What could possibly go wrong?
Absolutely.
Well, at least he didn't take the chief revenue officer that was given to Alan Way, who did work as their president of global sales till they ended. So they are aware of the biggest thing is the standout is the fact that the stakeholders of rebuilding the business, and you had all these people who haven't got orders that were shut off, and of course the most important thing is all the employees not being paid. So this is going to be interesting to see where all this goes, and I'm at least glad to see that they're going to come back. I hope they come back better than ever. More comments on that, Jeff?
The very first thing I would like to see them do is take care of the employees.
Yes.
And there better not be any negotiations like, well, what if we pay you 50% of your salary that's back due? No, it should be every dollar they're owed plus any benefits they had, they still have.
Right.
And they should be given some extra amount of money for the hardship that they've had to endure by not having their pay and benefits. And then let's talk about the rest of it after that. Take care of those people first. Yep. I think I would have gone with new management, like C-suite level management all the way around.
Yeah. Surprising they brought the same people back. Yeah, especially since not that may or not been their fault, but
it just makes it funny though. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and we do need more humor in our lives. So yeah.
What do you think, Mike?
Oh well, I think I might have been on your show when we talked about Brydge going under. And at the time I said I'd never owned a Brydge. It's
under
me.
The bridge.
Under the bridge.
Yeah, went under the bridge. I'd never owned a Brydge keyboard, and I think our conversation then diverged to the Logitech keyboards that a great many of us own for our iPad. So cool. Glad they're back.
Yeah.
But I do agree with Jeff. Once they take care of the employees, then we can worry about the rest.
Yep, I agree. And the guy, sounds like you're a little bitter since your Brydge keyboard failed, but
it was a number of years ago.
Yeah.
I just wonder where the money's going to come from. So, I mean, how are they going to pay all the employees, most of whom I hope have moved on away from Brydge, and it would be great if they got their money. But chances are that's just not how it's going to work out.
Yeah. If they moved on, it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. There was no mention in the article saying that there was going to be anything that relates to the former company, as I guess we would say it.
The company formerly known as Brydge.
Yeah. So it's all depending on, I mean, I don't know if they even filed for bankruptcy. If they did, then obviously they're protected from that.
Well, they were going to, but they couldn't afford the fee to file it.
Yeah.
I laugh only because it hurts.
Yeah. It's funny because it's true.
Right.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on. I always like these stories whenever a good feature in an iPhone works. The iPhone 14's emergency SOS via satellite feature saved a California hiker. As we know, the emergency SOS via satellite is a feature that was introduced in the iPhone 14 models, and it actually over the weekend it actually saved an injured person on a trail. They were hiking in a remote part of the Trail Canyon Falls in the Angeles National Forest when they suffered the accident. Part of the trail collapsed underneath her, and she broke her leg. Had no cellular service, nor did the people who were with her, but she did have an iPhone 14, thankfully, and that SOS satellite feature worked, and they were able to call and got rescued. Show a picture on Twitter of the rescuers that got to her, and I love these kind of stories. It's so cool to see that this, Apple has done some great things adding these types of features, and you keep hearing about them every day. What do you think, Guy?
The fact that having an iPhone, even if you don't have cell service, you can still use it in an emergency. And I mean, we've all made the jokes about the I've fallen and I can't get up feature of the iPhone that's been around for a couple of years now, with all of the unneeded 911 calls that have gone out because people don't realize that their phone is now calling an emergency for them and they're just on a roller coaster or whatever. But it's nice that a feature that Apple has implemented is working exactly the way it's supposed to. You don't have cell service. Well, there's a great possibility that you may be able to connect up to a satellite.
Yep, very possible. What about you, Mike? What do you think?
Fantastic feature. I immediately thought of what Guy just mentioned with all the phones dialing 911. As you said, on a roller coaster, or someone just trips and bumps into a wall or something, and their phone calls 911. I know there's been a lot of those false alarms, but having one person get saved by the feature makes up for all of those false alarms for sure. Yep.
And, your thoughts, Jeff?
The system as a whole, regardless of whether or not it's the satellite thing or if it's just the version that's been around for a while with fall detection and all that, this is so cool. And yes, there are false reports, but like Mike said, all of those are worth it for the times where it helps someone. As an example, a friend had a crash on their bicycle a few days ago. Their Apple Watch detected the fall, and before it even had a chance to auto dial, they knew they were in a bad situation. And their watch was tapping them on the wrist, so they just went ahead and swiped to do the SOS immediately.
Mhm.
They had paramedics on scene within a few minutes. Were rushed off to the hospital, and all of the people that were on their emergency alert list were getting updated text message reports with locations. And
That's
like the
awesome.
first one started with they fell and called 911. So, so it was obvious that this was a real situation. And we all knew when they ended up at the ER, and even knew where in the ER they were because of the pin drop.
Yep.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I am a big fan of this feature in all its versions on Apple's products, and
Agreed.
I am so glad this person, her life was saved, and awesome. But let's live with the false positives for the situations like this where it saves someone's life.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Just devil's advocate question here, because privacy is always on the tip of everyone's tongues when it comes to Apple products. But is the pin drop showing where they are exactly in the hospital a privacy violation?
I'd say in that case, no, because they have
Even though they're
selected
in the
who
hospital.
they want to share the information with.
That's
And there's
right.
and there's nothing in the privacy laws that says that the patient is not allowed to share their information.
Oh, no, you're right. No, a patient can share their information. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't think that would qualify as a privacy violation. If it was just like broadcasting it generally, I can see where that's a problem. But it's
because it was
to specific people.
pre-authorized.
Yeah.
Pre-authorized is what you're saying.
Yeah, unless you turn it off in your settings.
And they can have the confidence that it's only being shared to the people that are on their emergency list of contacts. So so no one else in the world can see it other than those people. So we should definitely
Makes sense.
Be good with that.
But good question.
Yeah, that was very good. Going from something that's great that Apple helps with, and going to a story that a moron who decides to take a huge bribe here. New Hampshire man pleads guilty to taking a huge bribe to ship $2 million worth of stolen Apple products. There's a New Hampshire resident. He recently pleaded guilty to transporting stolen Apple property valued at $2 million. And according to the U.S. Attorney's Office in the District of New Hampshire, I don't want to mention the guy's name. He had a shipping company in Manchester, New Hampshire, and then in the fall of 2022, a Hong Kong-based company purchased a range of Apple products that was meant to be forwarded to them in Hong Kong. Well, of course, it included iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches, MacBooks. So then rather than shipping the goods, he accepted a bribe of over $700,000 and from a different Hong Kong company to redirect that $2 million worth of products to that company instead. So he got what he deserved, and now it's going to be another investigation with the FBI as well as the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. This guy could get it up to 10 years in prison and up to $250,000 in fines. Then he has to pay restitution on top of that. So good catching.
So what I'm hearing is that he still comes out ahead because he got over $700,000.
Yeah. Seems like it.
Well,
this is just stupid, though.
Yeah, and the thing is that the title is a little incorrect because he didn't ship $2 million worth of stolen Apple products. He misdirected $2 million worth of legitimately purchased Apple products to someone that didn't deserve them because of a $700,000 bribe.
Well, I guess at that point he stole the phones because they weren't his to send to the other company. But still, I get what you're saying about the headline because it's yeah,
Julie. Bad headline, Julie. Bad.
Julie would be the author of that article.
Write the headline. I'm thinking Julie did not write the headline.
It's
probably
possible.
not. It's got her name on it, so yeah.
Any additional thoughts on this, Mike?
No, I was a little confused until Guy started to explain it, and I clicked through to read the article, and I understand now. So the original purchaser, that was a legitimate purchase.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that was all on the up and up. I was starting to wonder why someone in Hong Kong would try to to get stolen goods shipped back to them in Hong Kong. There must certainly be a quicker way to get stolen Apple products when you're in Hong Kong, next to the country within which they're produced. But now I understand. So he legitimately purchased these products. The seller decided that thanks to a $2 million bribe, somebody else would be a better recipient of the products.
Yeah. And he made money on both ends.
On both ends. Yep.
Now, as long as
capitalism.
he supplies product to both purchasers.
Yeah, but it would have to be $2 million worth. And if he only got 700,000 from the different company, then he's down $1.3 million.
Well, the $2 million was the bribe. The second person wanted
the 700,000 was the bribe.
The first company bought $2 million worth of Apple product.
Oh,
they were paying him to ship it, and then another company paid him
gotcha.
$700,000 to ship it to them instead. And he's like, "Yeah, okay,
Got it. Okay, so the 700. It wasn't the 2 million that was the bribe. It was the 700,000.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay, I had it flip flopped.
Just the value was $2 million.
Yeah.
Are you sorry you asked if I had any thoughts on this?
Not at all. It got everything cleared up and understanding what this story is all about. But we can move on now. So Apple hikes iCloud Plus subscription prices in many countries around the world, not the US. Apple has
already did it.
Did they just do it recently?
Yeah, overall, 6 months ago, Jeff, I think it went up like $3.
Yeah, that sounds
earlier this year.
That sounds about like the right timing.
Okay. So they have increased the price of iCloud storage in several regions around the world, including the UK, Scandinavia, Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and South America. Everybody, of course, we know gets that wonderful 5 gigs of free storage cloud space that's going to really just eat up in about
5 megs, isn't it?
No, it's 5 gigs.
5 gigs.
I thought it was 5K.
Yeah, no, it's 5.
It's a slap in the face. That's what it is.
It's just pointless.
Thanks for buying our stuff. Wow.
You know what though, Guy? 5 gig of storage space is a slap in the face. Let's
these days
honest.
it really is.
Yeah.
So
especially at the prices that Apple charges.
I mean,
I think they could bump to 20 or 25 and be okay.
They should give us $700,000 worth of bribes.
Yeah. No, can you even buy a thumb drive with that low of storage?
Not easily
anymore.
No, it's hard to buy an 8 gigabyte thumb drive.
Yeah,
for less than a 16 gigabyte.
16, right?
Yeah,
1632,
and that'll probably cost you what, like $9,
right?
If 16 is if that. Yeah, they're not even quite 9 anymore.
Yeah, even those NVM drives that they're putting on motherboards or computers now. They're dirt cheap, super cheap. You can there's some companies, especially in the gaming world, you can get a 500 gigabyte NVM drive for $20, $30.
Yeah.
Unless of course it's an Apple product and it's 200.
Yeah.
I think you're taking us down a path here that really makes sense, which is we need someone to buy a bunch of these super cheap storage components, could be cases and cases of thumb drives. Mm-hmm. Then we pay someone to divert those to Apple so they can start plugging them into their servers, so we all have more storage.
Jeff, how much would I have to pay you to implement this scheme?
I was going to say all he needs is $700,000.
Right. Jeff knew where I was going.
I did too. Interestingly, it does say in this article that pricing in the United States, Canada, and European Union had remained the same. So that's why I was confused.
We already got screwed.
So it doesn't say that the pricing. It says similar increases occurred in other countries, but not in the United States. So I don't know.
Ours were a while ago.
Yeah, it
was a long while ago. But anyway, it's just the reason that this caught my eye is just the trends here. Why is Apple doing all these increases? And guys, it costs that much to them that it's storage is cloud storage is that expensive.
I think this falls under the category of because they can.
Because they can. Okay. Yeah.
Those thumb drives don't buy themselves, guy.
They do not.
That is true.
They've tried. No,
and we saw how that worked out.
Yeah.
And, with them, and then with Apple being in the financial side of things, so with the Apple Card and other stuff, this article is worries me about a trend here, but they're doing this just in Canada right now. It's Apple is no longer going to offer interest-free financing in Canada. They stopped offering this on any new iPhone, iPad, Mac purchase in Canada. And it's going forward. The ranges are going to be 4.9 to 7.9% financing for products over 12 and 24 months. So that kind of stinks. And they go through the different percentages, and it's because I guess what happened was the Apple's financing partner in Canada was acquired by a firm. It was called PayBright. And Apple's website says it's now being handled by a firm. So maybe a firm must have changed their ways here. So I don't think Goldman Sachs is doing that to us in the U.S. But of course, the Apple Card really isn't available anywhere else instead of the U.S. anyway. So what do you guys think?
I'm just buying stuff in Canada.
Yeah.
It seems like Canada always gets screwed.
Canada and students, because Apple no longer offers, or hasn't for a while, 0% interest financing on educational purchases. And thanks to the likes of T-Mobile and Verizon and AT&T, if you decide to buy an unlocked phone direct from Apple, they're no longer going to offer 0% financing either. So...
And it costs more.
And it costs more. And it costs more to boot. Yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And yet that's the only way I purchase my phones from Apple, because I don't use Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately. So, well, it's a shame, but sorry for those listening in Canada that you have to not have this nice option, but good to report the news here of what's going on with that. Something a little more fun. There's a new game coming to the Apple Arcade in July 21st to be exact. Apple's subscription gaming service. It's called Stardew Valley. Wasn't familiar with this game, but it's
popular.
Apple's subscription gaming service, Apple Arcade, is going to gain this title in July, as they announced a couple days ago here. It features the same open-ended farming gameplay with more than 50 hours of content to go through, and mobile-specific features and all that. So this is great to see how Apple Arcade is really growing. And Mike, it seems like you are very familiar with this game. What is this all about? And you think this is a good thing for Apple Arcade?
I don't know how good of a thing it is for Apple Arcade, because it is something that's been available for the Mac for a while now. Mm-hmm. It's actually on my wish list on Steam. I just haven't purchased it yet. It's something that my daughter wanted to play, and I said, "Oh, I know that's available for the Mac," so I add it to my wish list. Mm-hmm. And one of these days, when it goes on sale on Steam, I'll go ahead and buy it.
Sure.
But I was just going to look up to see what it costs on there, because
it's $15 on Nintendo Switch.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
And I think it's $5 on the App Store.
But it'll be free if it's part of Apple Arcade.
Right, because you pay $4.99 a month for Apple Arcade. So
yeah, it kind of looks like Animal Crossing.
So not free.
Well, it's free. It's free as in, what's the subscription service with all the apps?
Yeah. Oh, SetApp?
Yeah, SetApp. It's like every app that they put on SetApp is free if you're already in, paying for a SetApp subscription,
which is like $115.
Yeah, so Stardew Valley will be free if you're paying for Apple Arcade, along with all the other games that is in Apple Arcade.
And if you're not paying for Apple Arcade, and Stardew Valley is what's getting you to look at Apple Arcade, you might realize that it's cheaper to buy it outright elsewhere.
Well, if that's the only game you're playing,
that was the thing with the Apple Arcade, though, I thought, was that there were going to be exclusive games only available in Apple Arcade. I didn't think that it was something where you could get...
Not all of them.
Not all of them?
Some are.
Some, yeah.
Clearly, I don't subscribe to it.
Like Oregon Trail, they remember they added that title, and
you would have died of dysentery.
Yeah.
Story of my life.
Yes.
Yeah.
So another game in arcade. That's all we could say.
And then there's Oregon Trail guy, where it says instead of you have died of dysentery, it says your spleen has exploded.
Yeah.
That one's going to be awesome with Vision Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
there you get like a virtual scalpel.
Splat.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Let's go on to the next story here. This story really kind of angers me. T-Mobile is ditching auto pay discount for Apple Pay despite its history of security woes. T-Mobile's long feared and unpopular change to auto pay is set to officially go into effect this next month in July. They will no longer accept credit cards, Apple Pay, or Google Pay for auto pay. This means if you want to secure that $5 a line discount for using auto pay, you'll have to update your payment to use either a bank account transfer or a debit card. I haven't gotten this notification yet from T-Mobile.
I use T-Mobile, and I wasn't even aware that existed.
The auto pay, or
well, not auto pay, because I do that, but you got a discount for Apple Pay. Of course,
you
now
got a discount for
it's a discount for doing auto pay,
yeah.
and then Apple Pay was one of the choices. You could use a credit card too if you wanted, but they're not going to let you do that anymore. So it has to be like a direct debit from your bank account or using the debit card.
Well, sure. I want to hook my main checking account to a company that's had several security breaches. I cannot see the downside to that.
Yeah, this is
right.
Plus, I'm getting plus I have 8 lines on my account. I got a really nice discount for doing that.
Why do you have 8 lines?
Family.
Okay.
And his side business.
Oh,
wink.
Yeah.
Oh,
wink.
wait, no, I can't wink anymore.
All right, 2 of the lines are free. So technically 6 lines.
I am winkless.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is not. I guess
Serle.
I'm. Oh God. Well, at least you got that humor.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a shame they're doing this, but again, like I said, I'm a T-Mobile customer and I didn't get any notification that this is happening, but I'm seeing people post things on social media that they're saying they do it. So I don't know what to believe.
I knew it was coming, but I've not received any notifications about it either.
Yeah.
It's the same trap that small businesses fall into, and big businesses just kind of grin and bear it. But small businesses are dealing with these credit card fees every single day.
Right.
Yep.
We have people come into the store, they buy $1.25 worth of stuff, they pay with their credit card. Yeah. We just lost money on that sale. Thank you very much. Credit card fees. So if you're saving $5 a month, I kind of get it that, that's sucking up a big chunk of that. What you are paying.
20, 25. I'm saving $30 a month.
So you're saving $30 a month, but the fees that T-Mobile is paying on this credit, what I don't understand is why they would accept debit cards, which, at least from a small business perspective, debit cards still incur the same fees that credit cards incur.
Okay, that's what I was about to ask you.
Yeah,
but they could treat the debit card as a bank transfer, could they not? I thought that might.
Yeah,
I mean, you would know better. Mike,
can they treat a debit card as a? Because they're usually branded Visa, MasterCard.
Right. But unless that there are ways that you could do that, I would not want to give my debit card out either. I mean, unfortunately, it looks like it's not going to have much of a choice. So I'm not going to lose that discount. So,
well, giving out your debit card is actually much worse than giving out a credit card number.
So I would just do the bank. I would just do the bank.
Yeah, someone who gets that number, it just drains your bank account.
Well, one thing you could do is just set up another debit account and only have the enough money in it to cover that fee every month.
What about the services that set up temporary credit card numbers for you? And so it acts sort of like a firewall for your.
Well, Apple does that,
money.
don't they?
Yeah, but it's still a credit card. So
it's still a credit card. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see what happens. Last story here this week, Apple employees are going to be finally getting an upgrade to their iPhone. This says 10. I thought it was a 10S. to the iPhone 14. Interestingly enough, I thought of this story when I was in the Apple store the other day, and I'm going to talk about my experience buying a new iPhone here in a minute. But this is now happening. This was from Mark Gurman had mentioned this, that they're going to be finally updating their point of sale system. It's called Isaias, from the iPhone 10 to the iPhone 14. Maybe because the 10 is considered obsolete now, that they had to do it. So even in the article says a former Apple employee has revealed that employees did indeed have to swap out their iPhone 10s multiple times a day because they're having problems.
Batteries. Yeah.
So, because this, of course, the 10 was released in 2017. So that's what,
5 years ago,
6 years ago now.
Yeah. So, almost 6 years ago. Yeah.
So,
okay. I get it. So these are the phones they're using in the store.
Yeah. Point of sale.
They're
POS devices. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When I've heard this headline, I'm picturing like Tim Cook sitting at home saying, when can I finally get rid of this iPhone 10 and get upgraded to something newer?
Yeah.
So it's so old, it actually still has the spin dial for each number.
Just like my iPod Touch.
Exactly.
So that's the way it goes. I'm sure. I'm happy that they're getting their new iPhone 14s it'll be a better experience for all of us, including us as customers.
Yeah, my future daughter-in-law just picked up a 13 for $500.
There you go.
Yeah, what a deal.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the topics this week. Beta this week, there's been not too much activity with iOS 17. I'll talk about that in a minute, but there's now a fourth beta of iOS 16.6 that was sent out to developers, and it's I believe the public beta is out now as well. Still, we don't know if much, if anything, is in here that's been added to this, other than the key feature is extraordinary digital threats. Apple intends for iMessage contact key verification. So I don't see much else on here. This is interesting. This is the longest I've seen Apple
a single beta
hanging out on the old version of iOS when they should be focusing on the new iOS 17. I would think
security issues. Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, but this is going from a 16.5. This is a full dot 1 update, dot 6 from dot 5. So, so this is definitely interesting. You guys, any thoughts about that? Jeff?
I think Guy is right, that this is going to have probably a lot of security updates. My guess is that there are other bugs that are significant enough that will have an impact on other things Apple is doing, that they felt necessary to divert people from iOS 17 to working on this bigger point update.
Yeah, because they have a few months with the 17, but it's going to come up quick. Any thoughts, Mike?
No, that's a great point, Jeff. I appreciate that, knowing that Apple has had to divert internal resources to iOS 16.6 to fix all these bugs that are in it nearly a year after release. It sure makes me eager to install iOS
17.
Yeah,
right.
But Mike, you get fresh new bugs.
New bugs.
New and improved bugs. So I also got a link in here for watchOS 9.6. No idea what's being added to that. The same thing as tvOS 16.6. So we'll see where that goes. And I would venture to say probably the next week or two, it's probably going to get released to the public and we won't be talking about it anymore. As I said, iOS 17 is continuing on. We've talked numerous shows here about some of the new features. Notably was the updates to the messages, the phone, and FaceTime, continuity camera on the Apple TV, and all kinds of other great updates that we're looking forward to talking about more. I linked out to some of the some improvements that were found. Some of the sites here. There's going to be 8 privacy and security improvements coming in the next update. They're doing some upgrades to the privacy browsing upgrades in Safari. will now be locked and require secondary authentication to unlock and access. So if you hand over your phone over to someone that attempts to open your Safari private browsing tab, the access will be denied without the Face ID or Touch ID or a passcode. I think that's pretty good. Cool. Tracking URL removal. Opening a URL in a private browsing window will automatically strips all tracking information about the URL. Plus, unknown trackers are completely blocked, so companies aren't able to track your browsing across multiple sites. And then URLs can also be stripped when browsing in a non-private browsing mode. If the functionality is enabled, you can go in and actually disable it. So I'm not going to go through as far how to do that. And shared passwords, you now can securely share passwords with passkey with friends and family members. They're updating that. Password resets are going to be much easier. They're adding that. The photo library access. So there's some pretty notable things that they're really updating in security in iOS 17 that is looking to be interesting to do that. Other thing I was going to mention was you're going to have the ability to turn photos into iMessage stickers in iOS 17. Jeff, with your experience with stickers, is this something that you think is going to catch on? People are going to have fun with?
I think there's a certain demographic that will really enjoy this, and we may or may not be in that group, but
right,
yeah, there's people that are going to really be into this. The things that Apple does that to a lot of us seem like superficial additions to messages and iMessages. There's a reason behind those features, and it's to keep interest in the Messages app and iMessages platform, and to hopefully draw more people in, and the things that Apple's doing to with each version of iOS and macOS to make messages work more like a group chat tool, like we're doing with other platforms. This is all part of that.
Right. Yep. Any other thoughts, guys? They're stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah. For us, it's like, okay, those are stickers. But for a lot of people, this is something that they will be very excited about. It's fun.
It's fun to them. And all this, a couple of the features I'll remind everybody that were announced during WWDC, but are not going to be available at launch. The first one was the journaling app. It was one of the bigger features that got announced, but it isn't in beta right now, so it's probably going to be towards the fall before you'll even be able to start looking at it. The other feature was that was pretty awesome, is that AirDrop feature, where if you AirDrop something to somebody and you drift away, it'll connect it to the internet, be able to download that item. That's not going to be ready not yet. So as well as collaborative Apple Music playlists, which you'll be able to. Apple is finally going to plan to allow multiple users to collaborate in Apple Music. So we're probably venturing to say those features are probably not going to be here until towards the end of the beta cycle, and maybe not when it's released either. So,
well, it wouldn't be the first time that Apple announced features for the phone or the pad or the Mac, and suddenly when it came time for release, we're like, well, we kind of wanted to do it, but we couldn't because it turned out it was freaking magic and not actually technology. So sorry.
Yeah, we're rewriting physics, but don't worry.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. We'll just change physics eventually.
Guy's right. Apple does this on a regular basis, like annually. At least for some features, when they do this, they let us know up front, this is the thing that's coming, but it will not be on launch day. So it makes it easier to plan for that and temper our excitement about the release. I think it's a mistake, though, that they will not have the shared music playlists on launch day.
Yeah.
Apple Music is in some places is too far behind Spotify. And the key feature that I hear people bring up all the time about why they switch to Spotify or why they stay on Spotify, and it's the collaborative playlist thing that isn't in Apple Music.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you on that. It's definitely interesting why that isn't going to be out. So,
well, considering the hot mess that I assume all the code is for Apple Music, the fact that they get any features rolled out and they function is probably a testament to how incredibly clever the developer team is.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, there's a reason why they broke all the various pieces out of iTunes, and this was a big part of it. iTunes was a hot mess and has been for a very, very long time. So instead of and to be honest, I kind of liked iTunes the way it was, having everything, all of my content that I'd purchased or acquired or downloaded available through one app. And the fact that they broke, I mean, I understand why they broke it all out. It just wasn't tenable to keep it going the way that it was, but it's made me use them a lot less. Of all of them, basically I use Apple TV, not even really so much my library anymore, music and podcasts. But I use them in different places, podcasts and music in the car. And that's really the only place I do use them. And of course, Apple TV at the house.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we'll see where that goes. So today, as we record this, this is June 29th, 2023. It was 16 years ago on this day that the very first iPhone went on sale. So we're at 16th anniversary of that. I still remember the picture we shared a number of a while ago of you, Jeff. Look, and they got you that picture looking at the iPhone through that glass. When you first saw that. So, and I see other pictures of that day at Apple when that was released. So it just makes its rounds.
It has gotten so much mileage. And okay, the story behind that photo. I had worked my way up to that cabinet, that pillar cabinet that had the iPhone in it. Yeah. And I'm looking at it just so I can see what this thing is that was announced an hour ago. And photographer for whichever one of the news agencies, he's there and he's like, "Hey, pose for me for this." And he tells me what he wants to do. And that's what the photo is. He's like, "So look at it. No, kind of lean in like you're really anticipating. Okay. Now give it the look like I so desperately want this," or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Perfect, click." And then the next thing you know, that photo, the staged photo, is just like everywhere.
Yep. And the Oscar goes to Mr. Jeff Gamet.
Yes, I would like to thank my family and the director for making this possible.
Making it possible. So I don't think any of us owned the first iPhone. I didn't. I don't think any of us here ever bought it. It was just I thought.
I had it.
Though.
You did have it? Okay, Jeff.
I did have the first iPhone. Yeah,
you did buy it. Okay. It was pricey, and it was only the one carrier, AT&T, at the time. So,
actually, it was Singular at first.
Was it Singular first? That's right.
Yeah,
but Singular bought AT&T.
Yes.
No, AT&T bought Singular.
Singular, right.
Yes. Within the year after this.
Well, wasn't it by the time the iPhone launched, AT&T already had Singular?
They did.
No, I think it was still, well, okay. That doesn't really matter, I guess. It all ended up being AT&T at
It was all AT&T, so.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do something interesting. We all like to play with ChatGPT. So I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll have it in the show notes if you want to see it. But I asked what is it about this anniversary that's important to know about? And the first sentence right away says this highly anticipated device developed by Apple Inc. revolutionized the mobile phone industry and set a new standard for smartphones. So it's interesting to see how ChatGPT actually grabbed lots of this information.
I like its groundbreaking features like web browsing, email functionality.
Right. Just like what Steve Jobs
iPod.
says. It's a phone. Yeah. It's an iPod. It's an internet device. Are you getting it?
Best keynote
Are you
ever.
getting it?
That was a really good keynote.
Yeah, that was a fantastic keynote.
The best one ever. So it was groundbreaking, and then the phone just evolved. I have a picture behind me, as you see on the video, that shows every single iPhone that was ever released, and I can go through and count. I own that one. I own that one. I own that one. And I pretty much have owned every. I didn't own the first one, but I started with a 3G and I worked my way down and owned every other iPhone since. So, I like to know what you guys think. What does the future hold for iPhone? We've got the Vision Pro coming. Is the iPhone going to continue on to be as great as it is, and how much we all love it and using it?
Until something comes along to take its place, and it's not going to be the Vision Pro.
Right.
Eventually, I mean, because technology moves on, and hopefully Apple and a bunch of other companies are working on the next gen devices that aren't just a 2001 era slab that we stick in our pockets and can, do all these wonderful things. And yeah, it is wonderful and it is magical. If you took an iPhone and handed it to somebody in 2006 and said, this is what we're using in 2023, it would completely blow their minds. And, you look at the original iPhone completely blew a lot of people's minds, except for, Steve Ballmer and, people like that. But when you consider the impact that Apple and the iPhone had on the entire industry, it's really, really difficult to imagine what that next step is going to be. So, I'm sure someone somewhere has something in their skunk works that is going to make our smartphones look like a caveman beating on a rock with a stick. But for now, that's all we got. And I can't really see it changing in a significant way. They keep trying to give us folding phones like they kept trying to give us 3D TV. And again, people just don't particularly want it. It doesn't work that well. And even if, people keep saying, when is Apple going to come out with their folding phone? If I was Apple, I would say never. It's crap. Who wants it? What problem is that solving?
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I just was watching the reviews of the Pixel Fold, and, Marcus Brown.
Brutal.
Yeah. I mean, he just, it folds out. I mean, it has a main screen, so you can have it folded as a regular phone. Then it folds out to be the two double screens. You can't move things over in between both windows. It either goes snap to the left, snap to the right. I mean, you barely see the fold, but you see it. But I'm not going to go through a review of it. But I agree with you. I just don't know. And it's $1,800, right? Yeah. So I just don't know if Apple ever was going to go down that road, unless something becomes more of an AI type of device beyond what a Vision Pro is. But what do you think, Mike? Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, go ahead.
Jeff.
Nope. You're asking Mike. I'll keep my mouth shut.
I saw Mike's look. I wanted to get his thoughts on this.
I'm perfectly happy to let Jeff take the next comment. I don't have anything particularly valuable to add. Listening to Guy talk about the iPhone and showing it to someone from 2006, I don't think I necessarily agree with that. I mean, if you look at Montgomery Scott picking up the mouse and saying computer. The concept of what he was doing was sound. He just wasn't told what that device was. Right. If, on the other hand, he was told it was a communication device and that he could punch numbers in it, just like he can punch numbers into a phone of that era, and make a call to communicate with someone, I think they would get it. I think someone from the 1920s would get it if you sat there and explained it to them. If you just handed it to them and said, this is what we're using in 2022 or 2023, they'd say, well, they'd kill you. That's what they do. But,
and plus they wouldn't have a signal out.
Yeah, if you told them what it was, the concept of what this can do as a communication device, whether it's visual communication or audio communication, is essentially the same as we've had for about 100 years.
Yeah.
Now, it was a 3-tent-pole device, though, right? And that's what made it so revolutionary. And it was that internet device and iPod and communication device all in one that really made it revolutionary. I think the concept of consuming all the world's knowledge on a device like this in the 1920s is a lot different than saying, this is a phone and you can call somebody with it. So I think it just kind of depends on how you approach it, how you show it to someone from 20 years, 40 years, 60 years, or 100 years ago, right. And how they then interpret the device. But it works so well because it does what people need on a continual basis. And that's why the phone is taking the place of laptops for a lot of people. That's why the phone is taking, whether it be Android or iOS, that's why it's taking the place of laptops. That's why it's taking the place of computers, for goodness sakes. I know a lot of
computer in your pocket.
They've just thrown their computers out the window, and their phone is the only device that they have. Sometimes I talk to them, they got an iPad, but they don't really use it that much. They usually use their phone for everything because the important stuff, the things that they need the most, are in their pocket. Yep. And whether I agree with it or not, it's Facebook and email and the occasional website and maybe a little bit of banking. That's about it. That's what they need. And
well, it's interesting you say that. What is when you look at the iPhone now in 2023, what is the least important part of that device now?
For many people, it's the phone.
Still, for many people, it's the phone, but for many people, it's just as important.
Yeah,
it depends on the user. Yep. This is, for many people, the only communication and internet connectivity device that they own. If you call their number, this is what they pick up. My in-laws just got rid of their landline after 55 years plus, 55 plus years. They got rid of their landline and they're all cell now at 83 years old.
Good. Well, we still keep ours, but it's mostly spam
junk
block. If I have to give a phone number for something, that's the number that I'll give, because I know it's going to generate 14 billion calls from somewhere in the Near East to ask me if I'm interested in DHHS grants or something.
Well, you are, though.
Always.
I get one phone call on our landline, and I call it a landline, and that's a little not quite accurate statement, because we switched from AT&T. We ported it over to Ooma many, many years ago. So we're paying some insanely low annual price for this landline that works out to be a fraction of what we paid AT&T on a monthly basis.
Right. I did that.
And we get more features. So we actually have 2 landlines in the house, and one is on Magic Jack, and I don't think we pay anything for that. I'm not sure what we pay for that one. And one of them's on Ooma, and that's our old landline is now, it's completely void. But we get one call on it every week, and it's my dad.
There you go. Last word for you, Jeff, so I move off this topic.
Okay, so the whole thing with where's this going for phones? With the iPhone, will it still have relevance? What's it going to be? Most people are looking at this from the wrong angle. And Guy, you hit on this when you said people are asking, when is Apple going to release a foldable phone? That's what people are thinking of when they think of what's the future for this sort of technology. They're thinking about hardware changes, hardware gimmicks. They're not thinking about what can the device do for you. And so where we are today, because we don't have access to Apple's Skunkworks, we can only guess at where they're projecting this device will go. Right. I think this is a problem for a lot of phone makers as well, because they're not thinking about what can this device do that enhances the user's life. They're thinking about what's the cool gimmicky technology thing we can add in that makes people want to buy the next one. And that's not innovation.
No, there hasn't been much innovation in the phone for many, many years. Oh. And maybe that's why it took Apple this long to release or announce the Vision Pro, because they wanted to ride out the iPhone as long as they could until it became just that thing that gets minor upgrades every year, and people only buy it when they break one.
So we'll see where that goes.
Yes, and well, I think there's still a healthy future for the iPhone. A few years ago, Apple, it might have, I can't remember which C-suite person it was, but they straight up said, "Look, we've got a 50-year plan for the iPhone," and so if they're thinking that far out with this device, it's not going to be in 10 years, 20 years what it is today. So imagine what it'll be when they hit the end of that 50-year window. I don't even know if it will be the slab of glass and metal that we're buying today.
Yeah. Or it's the same. What was the 50-year plan for the Westinghouse phone? And where was it at the end of that 50 years? There wasn't much innovation going on there, let's be honest.
No, there wasn't.
Yeah, I think they changed the case from Bakelite to plastic.
Yeah.
Avocado,
and yellow.
Yeah, those beautiful colors they had.
One. Yeah.
Yep. All right. I got two more topics I want to hit before we wrap things up here. This I found extremely interesting. This device was announced at Mobile World Congress, and I just stumbled across this today. And this story is actually written today as we record this. This is a gadget that will give you the best features of the iPhone 14 for $149. And basically, what it is, it is a device called the Motorola Defi Satellite Link. It's a small key fob-like device that pairs with your iPhone or Android via Bluetooth, and doing so connects your smartphone to satellites orbiting the Earth, of course, 22,000 miles away in space. What's the benefit? Well, if you need to send a text message but you don't have cell service, now this is going to allow you to send messages via satellite connection, unlike what the SOS does, which is just for emergencies on the iPhone now. This will have this, but this also adds the SOS feature, because there are going to be some phones out there that do not have that feature if you don't have the iPhone 14. So this was just announced. It's in pre-order right now, $149. I'm not sure what the cost is on it yet, but I think this is kind of a cool thought. That could you carry this around?
Is there a monthly charge for it or anything, or is it just by the one-time charge for the hardware?
No, I believe there's going to be a charge for it. Yeah, so it's like having a service. When you buy it for $149, you get a year of service for free. For free, the
which
first year.
Is right. SOS Assist and up to 32-way messages a month.
Right.
And then after that, then it's $5 a month.
Okay, that's not bad.
That's a fair thing to have security for having that.
That's a pretty cheap insurance policy there. And
being able to text when you need to, as opposed to with the SOS, you have to enable it. It gets enabled automatically on an iPhone, but you really can't text. You're sending it out to the satellite, to the emergency services, and then they kind of interpret where you are. When they get that message, they think you're having trouble. Well, that SOS feature is also going to be on here. So this kind of gives you both the best of both worlds. So I'm curious to see where this goes. We've got links in the show notes about it. And this could be something that's for the future here, for having satellite links when you're out in a place where you don't get cell service. So last topic I wanted to hit here this week. I I had to purchase an iPhone. It wasn't for me. It was for a family member and birthday present that the family's going to give her. And it's an iPhone 14. She decided on the color of yellow, so I thought that was kind of cool. So I think it's going to be a neat little phone. But I just wanted to kind of go through the experience. And then this article from The Verge was talking about the trade-in, and we've talked about trade-in many times. So the process was pretty easy. I decided, you know what, I'm just going to do it on the computer. I just went to the Apple's website and just purchased the phone, and then I went to the trade-in process. You know, she has a second gen iPhone SE, which, you know, there ain't going to be much money left for that one since the third gen's out now, and so I just thought that I'd probably get like $10-20 for it. So we put it in, and we ended up getting $90 for it, which I think, you know, that through Apple, that's pretty gosh darn fair, considering. So it was a good experience, and I had it so I could just go pick it up at the store. It's nice to be able to. We're so used to buying an Apple product and have to rush to get it in the order before, unless you had to wait. You know, like me every year when I'm getting the upgrade to the next model. You know, you got to be up at least we don't have to be up at 2 a.m. now. We're up at 7 a.m. Local time to do it. But it's nice to go through the process and have a good experience. And I went to the store, had a real nice Apple employee to help me out. Went and picked it up, ready to rock, and I definitely did purchase her a 20 watt power plug, because I know that they have billions of the small cube 5 watt chargers, which are horrible. So, but the trading process again is very simple. I just wanted to touch on this article from The Verge here, talking about, you know, making sure that you clean your gear, that you're erasing the phone, and erasing, if it's a Mac, do a factory reset, you know, before you send it out. And Apple's going to make it very simple. They're going to send a box. I'm going to put it in the box, send it back to them. If they have a third party usually look at it and then it looks fine, then they're going to credit me the $90 onto my Apple Card account. So very simple process. You don't have to mess with it. Now, if you do finance it, which is kind of cool, they give you the credit right away, and then you send the phone in. But then, of course, they would take it away when they see if it's not a bad phone. But
they take it away.
Yeah, but you get it right away because you're already committing to the 0% finance for 2 years. So, but we bought it outright. So, but yeah, take a look at that. Go through and make sure to understand how the whole process is of cleaning your gear, trading it in, because don't send a Mac back and then go with what guy you experienced when you bought a Mac, but that was of course through a private party. That you had a hell of a time.
Hey.
You had a hell of a time getting it to reset. I'm speaking generally. So
that's what $700,000 redirect fee gets you.
Exactly. So be sure you're doing all that stuff and making sure that it's something that you take care of, because you don't want it to be a problem with that. So, any other thoughts about that before we go to the wrap up here? All right. Well, before we go, since Mr. Mike Potter is here, we do have to still talk about MacStock. MacStock is coming in 21 days. Oh my gosh. We're only 3 weeks away.
Coming up pretty quick.
3 weeks away. I know the guy. I know we're sad that you're not going to be able to make it this year, but we'll think about you in spirit and send you lots of pictures, and we'll be there for you. But
you're gonna love the pictures I'm gonna send you.
Yeah, oh yeah. Especially the podcast we do at Barry's house.
Where we're put down the microphones, walk out of the room. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly.
When you take the pictures, Jeff, just remember that MacStock is a family-friendly, conference. So please find a new location outside of the walls of MacStock to take your photos to send a guy.
I'm going to spend a lot of time in the bathroom.
Jeez. But anyway, I know it's great that the event is sold out, but you do have a waiting list, right, Mike? And then you tell people about the virtual event.
We do have a waiting list, and I was debating even cutting off the waiting list, because I would even say that the waiting list is full at this point for in-person tickets. But yes, you're right. Dave, there is a virtual pass, and it's the first time we're able to offer it because of the venue change. Yes, because of the venue change, we had to reduce the number of potential attendees who could be there in person. Right. But thanks to the venue change, we could offer a virtual pass for the first time. It's the same venue that we hosted Virtual MacStock 2021 at, and that worked great. Guy was there, Dave was there. It worked fantastic. Yep. And the virtual pass is going to cover both Saturday and Sunday, all sessions, including Mac Geek Gab live on stage. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Fun. And that virtual pass is still available right now at macstockconferenceandexpo.com.
Great. And we had
so what I'm hearing is there's still a chance for me to see MacStock.
Is the barbecue still on too?
Yes. Actually, Barry's Midwest Mac Barbecue is still on. It's taking place. Let's see, Thursday, the 20th.
20th, right?
So 2 days prior to MacStock weekend, it's going to be in Barry's backyard, just like the very first Midwest Mac Barbecue was in 2015. And there is a link on the MacStock website where you can go sign up to tell Barry you would like to attend, and then you'll get all the details for going there. What are you talking about, Jeff? Still a chance to see MacStock.
Just making sure you're paying attention.
I had to circle back around to that because you are kind of pivotal to the weekend there, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, to myself and Jeff speaking.
Yeah.
But Mike, if it puts your mind at ease at all, I have my flight out. I have my hotel. I am booked. I'm committed to being there.
Yes. Or should be.
Or I should be.
Well, should be committed or should be committed to being there.
Yes.
Yeah. But the virtual experience should be great. Mike and I did it. I was able to visit Mike last weekend, and we did a bit of a test to check everything out, and it worked.
That was really cool.
It worked out really well.
Yeah, we were able to see
I didn't realize that Ecamm could do a lot of that stuff.
Because
I've tried using it before, and sometimes the interface gets in the way of what it is you're trying to do. But it looks like you guys got it worked out.
Yep. No, it really is fantastic software, and I have to say, I sound like I'm always turning this into a commercial for Ecamm Live, but it's really just amazing software. Yeah. The version 4 that came out this year has added so many incredible features to the package that increase its value tremendously, especially for MacStock. There were just things that they added this year that have made it all the easier for me to do the virtual pass this year. So I was excited to get version 4. I wasn't necessarily excited to use it in beta for MacStock, but the final version came out this spring. So and I've been using it for Mac Eyes Only every episode. So it's really, really great stuff. But Dave, you and Jeff are speaking, and I should probably just run down this lineup of presenters that we have, because it's probably one of the best lineups we ever had. We've got Chuck Joyner, we have Rachel Schmitz, we have Dave Ginsburg, Dave Hamilton, Kirsten Sia is going to be there. We've got Mac Geek Gab with John F. Brown and Pilot Pete at the end of the day on Saturday. We've got Allison Sheridan, we have Brittany Smith, we have Jeff Gamet, Jill McKinley, Marty Gensius, and Mike Schmitz. I mean, that is just a phenomenal lineup of people over 2 days. And and lest I forget, the MacStock Short Film Festival, Wally Trowinski, hosting that we had the first one in 2019, and then everything
stuff happened.
And then stuff happened. Stuff happened.
Yeah.
And then, so this is going to be our second MacStock Short Film Festival. And I'm giving Wally two segments at MacStock to host that over the weekend, one on Saturday and one on Sunday. So that's just going to be the capper on a fantastic weekend as we wrap things up on Sunday with that.
So go check it out on the website. It's macstockconferenceandexpo.com. It's July 22nd, 23rd. You can come see us virtually now. Go out to buy a ticket. You can come see us and see how great all these great speakers are going to be. So we're going to really have a great time. So,
and not to mention the great town of Woodstock, Illinois.
Yes, a fun little town just north of Chicago.
I'm very serious. I'm very serious when I say that.
No,
Woodstock is a fantastic little town.
It really is a fantastic town, and this new venue is right in the heart, in the historical heart of Woodstock, Illinois, and I think
in the town square.
Really dig it.
So,
town square.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap things up for this week. Thank you, everybody, for being here. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Mastodon @intouchwithios, as well as Twitter @intouchwithios. Support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We would really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We'd really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and so you're notified when we are live streaming, which is usually on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/intouchwithios, where you can watch the current and live streams. That we leave the live stream up after the fact, as well as you can listen to all the past shows on YouTube. Visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we discuss are flipped into that magazine. The link is in our show notes. You can subscribe to our show on your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, and many others. But better yet, just go to our website, intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Mastodon at DaveG65, as well as on Twitter, DaveG65. And Mike Potter, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Dave.
Let everybody know where they can find you. We already know about MacStock, but where can we find you too?
Yes, you so very generously mentioned MacStock Conference. Of course, MacStock Conference and Expo.com. But you will find me on the second and fourth Friday of every month at ForMacEyesOnly.com, at ForMacEyesOnly.com. I just said that a moment ago. And you can find For Mac Eyes Only on Mastodon, tooting.ninja at For Mac Eyes Only, or MacStock, tooting.ninja at MacStock Expo.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
ForMacEyesOnly.com.
Appreciate it. And Guy Serle, so glad you were able to make it back on the show here. Where can people find you?
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. I always enjoy coming on. I am the host, one of the hosts of the MyMac.com podcast, along with Gary Gazmaz Malpaz. We've been doing it for 14 years, I think, now. Oh. And he's not sick of me yet. So, we keep going. You can find that over at mymac.com. You can contact me. My email address is guy@mymac.com. Also, podcast at vertshark.com. Vertshark.com is the website that you can find all of the vids. You can also find me over on the Twitters. I am both Mac Parrot and VertShark over there on the Twitters, as well as Mac Parrot on Counter Social. And let's see, on Mastodon, it's Mac Parrot at social.io.
I think you're on Mastodon.social.
.social. Okay, it's one of those.
Probably should know.
I probably should. Yeah. And you can also call us on our Skype telephone number, which is 1 or +1 outside the United States, 703-436-9501.
Thanks, Guy. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Last but certainly not least, Mr. Jeff Gamet's here, and thanks for being here. Where can people find you?
It's always a treat to get to hang out with everyone here.
Yeah.
It's really nice. All right, so where can people find me? J Gamet on the various social platforms, Mastodon and Instagram. That's where I'm doing stuff. Then for shows, Tuesdays on Mac Voices Live, because Chuck Joyner keeps letting me on.
Underpants.
Here on Thursday. I mean, why does he do that?
I don't know.
I
it's a mystery.
Don't tag us.
It's a penance. I really believe it's a penance. But let's see. Then Thursdays, Dave keeps letting me on here on In Touch with iOS, so thank you for that. Then British Tech Network on Thursdays, the Big Show. Then Fridays, the Mac Show, and then Brian Chaffin and I record the Context Machine.
Great. Programming note: we're going to be off next week on the week of the 4th of July for Independence Day in the United States, and we'll be back the following week on the 13th of July. And thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show, because we enjoyed doing it. And until next time, we'll talk again soon.